that kind of spreading, learning about people, meeting people leads me to another question, which is, hey, it seems on the one hand that it's precisely the success of the Christian Studies Center model. And I know that, nobody wants to impose a model. Each Christian Studies Center is quite unique. I've been to some of your meetings. I visited a couple of the houses. You mentioned the one at University of Wisconsin is 16,000 square feet. I want to visit that place. That's like a small liberal arts college itself. Others, like I think it's Chesterton House at Cornell, have residences for 35 people, so every house has its own character. But it seems that although secular universities are not coming anywhere near founding a school of theology, they are open to confessional groups of a variety of kinds to founding Christian Studies Center. So one, in theory, could have a Jewish study center. Those exist in plenty of places. One could, on a secular campus, have vibrant communities of faith using the space, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I alluded to it in the paper, but to me, the really intriguing possibility is not so much a public or a secular space in which the religious questions are bracketed, but what does it look like to have a really robust pluralism of religious perspectives as part of the work of the university? And I do think, I agree with you that I think that's possible. I don't think we've seen it done well in the United States. My sense is that in some other countries, they've been more open to religious affiliated, institutions within the state universities. But in the United States, I think that's been pretty limited. One of the interesting developments that I've seen is, I believe it's at the University of Arizona. The University of Mary, a Catholic institution in North Dakota, has a satellite campus at Arizona, which the University of Arizona, I think, has recognized in official standing, and I think is accepting credit from the University of Mary as transfer credit within this institution. So there's a model of like integrating religious institutions within a state institution. There are a couple of other study centers that are doing similar kind of transfer credit approaches, but I'd love to see it be the case where the state universities were sort of capacious enough that we could have, a confessionally Buddhist, a confessionally Christian center within the university and not just sort of adjacent to it. So, right now, Anselm House is completely outside of the university, with the exception of our students forming a student group, an extracurricular group within the university. And I would love to see kind of a stronger connection between universities and study centers develop.
That's a really interesting model, because now that you say that, it does spark a memory that one of the initial sort of Catholic study centers, which you may have heard of, is called Lumen Christi. It's at the University of Chicago. And I know that when I was talking with their founder, Thomas Levergood, he did speak of a model that potentially an area of expansion of the Catholic Study Center model would be to work with secular universities of all kind, University of Illinois, Chicago, Illinois State, and see if they're open to a partnership where a diocese, a Catholic diocese or a Catholic college close to University of Illinois could partner so that undergraduate students could take classes in theology for credit, but have it count towards their state school degree, right? So, and I think he has found some success there, that state universities are already doing these kinds of partnerships. Well, we can't offer everything, so your degree is from here, but you can take a subset of classes from another institution because it's going to provide you a kind of training that we don't offer, but it counts towards your total credits to graduate here. And so I think he's trying to think, just like I was saying, the vast majority of Catholic students go to secular state schools for reasons that you described. Well, they're very good schools and they're not nearly as expensive, right? So University of Nebraska is a wonderful school. University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill is a wonderful school. And the price tag is much more manageable. You can live close to home. So this might be an area of actual theological. So then students would have a confessional theological degree, or even just a minor. But if they do it with Catholics or Protestant Christians, in theory, they could do it with any group that came forward with an accredited theological degree in, it could be Judaism, it could be a different religion. So I think there's some openness to think about creative ways of doing this.